Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on place value with decimals. We have seen the meaning of place value with respect to whole numbers. Now we will look at place value with respect to decimals. Consider the number 3.7. This is a very basic example and it's a good place to start. The table below will help us to fully understand how place value works for decimals. Now we have a table here and each of these columns are labelled. Let's look at the position of the decimal point. Any number to the right of the decimal point in this column here, okay, it's actually a fraction. And it's whatever that number is times 1/10. Any number here is actually a fraction, and whatever the number is here, you multiply it by 1/100. Whatever the number is here, you multiply it by 1/1000. Now going to the left-hand side, whatever the digit here is, you have to multiply it by 1. Whatever the digit there, or the whole number, you multiply it by 10. This one here, you multiply by 100. And this one here you multiply by 1000. So let's have a look at the specific example of 3.7. We can see how each place value is labelled in the table. We just looked at that there. It is clear that the following place values apply to the number 3.7. 3 equals 3 ones, which equals 3 times 1. That's what this means. It is in the ones column, so it's 3 ones, which means 3 times 1. The 7 is in the tenths column. So 7 has the value of 7/10, and that actually means 7 times 1/10. 4.52. The 4 is in the ones column, so it has a value of 4 ones, which is 4 times 1. The 5 is in the tenths column, so it has a value of 5/10, which is 5 times 1/10. The 2 is in the hundredths column, so 2 equals 2 hundredths, which is 2 times 1/100. 36.89. The 3 is in the tens column, so it has a value of 3 tens, which is 3 times 10. The 6 is in the ones column, so it has a value of 6 ones, which is 6 times 1. The 8 is in the tenths column, this is where we get to the fractions, and it has a value of 8 times 1/10. And the 9 is in the hundredths column, which is 9 hundredths, so it has a value of 9 times 1/100. 74.352. The 7 is in the tens column. It has a value of 7 tens, which is 7 times 10. The 4 is in the ones column. It has a value of 4 ones, which is 4 times 1. The 3 is in the tenths column, so it has a value of 3 tenths, which is 3 times 1/10. The 5 is in the hundredths column, so it has a value of 5 hundredths, which is 5 times 1/100. And the 2 is in the thousands column, so it has a value of 2 thousandths, which is 2 times 1/1000. So this video has introduced us to the idea of place value with respect to decimals. Because we've just introduced the topic, we've used this table here to help us with the place values. As you become more experienced, you actually will not need that table, but you need to do quite a few examples to gain the confidence, and then the table and the labels won't be needed at all.